Every NBA team has a player that they depend on to score a bulk of their points, and without this player, their team would not be nearly as good at scoring and probably wouldn't win all the games that they do. So in today's video, we're going to be finding out what would happen if we took every team's best scorer and we only allowed that player to score for their team. So for the 76ers, it's just Joel Embiid, and then I'll actually go through all of the rest of the teams to show you who the best scorer is, and only this player will be able to score throughout an NBA season. If you guys do go on to enjoy this video, this took a really long time to actually make this roster. Definitely smash that like button. Let's go for at least 2,500 likes in this video. I know you guys can smash it because you guys do great when I actually set like goals. So let's do 2,500 likes and subscribe to the channel if you're new. But without further ado, let's go through each team and see who their best scorer was. And how I actually managed to do this is any offensive stats, everybody except for the top scorer, theirs was reduced all the way down to a 25 overall, as you can see, and then shooting tendencies are all a 0. The only thing they have a tendency to do is pass to the best scorer. So starting off on the Philadelphia 76ers, we got Joel Embiid. For the Bucks, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo. For the Bulls, we have Zach LaVine. For the Cavs, we have Kevin Love. For the Celtics, we got Kyrie. Lou Williams for the Clippers. Mike Conley for the Grizzlies. John Collins for the Hawks. Josh Richardson for the Heat, Kemba Walker for the Hornets, Donovan Mitchell for the Jazz, Buddy Hield for the Kings, Dennis Smith Jr. for the Knicks, LeBron James for the Lakers, Nikola Vucevic for the Magic, Luka Doncic for the Mavericks, D'Angelo Russell for the Nets, Nikola Jokic for the Nuggets, Victor Oladipo for the Pacers, Anthony Davis for the Pelicans, Blake Griffin for the Pistons, Kawhi Leonard for the Raptors, James Harden for the Rockets, DeMar DeRozan for the Spurs, Devin Booker for the Suns, Paul George for the Thunder, Cat for the Timberwolves, Damian Lillard for the Trailblazers, Stephen Curry for the Warriors. Just kind of mix up between Curry and Durant for the Warriors, and then Bradley Beal for the Wizards. So only those players that I mentioned are going to be able to score in this season. The other players might put up a few points per game just because of when shot clock's running down, they accidentally throw up a shot and stuff like that. I don't think it is possible to make it only one player, but we'll actually find out during the season as well. Everybody else, they'll just be able to play defense. But let's just hop right into the season and find out what ends up happening. I want to simulate one game first to see if this actually goes as planned, and it looks like it did because the score is 77-70. If we check out the box score, so Kyrie scores 50. As you can see, the other players still get a few points, but it's primarily just Kyrie. For the 76ers, it's Joel Embiid. Even though I did turn down all those stats and everything, players are still going to get a few points, which is kind of unfortunate, but this is as close as we can get. Also want to see if any NBA records are going to be broken for scoring or anything like that. But let's just move on and get to the end of the season, see what ends up happening. Okay, so we finished the season, and check out how many points Stephen Curry averaged. 56.3 points per game, which I believe will beat Wilt Chamberlain's record in a season. 5.5 rebounds, 2.6 assists as well. So other players were scoring, of course. There's not much else we can do about that. Rookie of the Year goes to Doncic, scored 39.4 points per game, which is pretty low for being the only scorer. Kyle O'Quinn got Sixth Man of the Year. He got 4.2 points per game because obviously he wasn't the main scorer. Giannis, 43.8 points per game. Buddy Hield had 40.9, and then Steve Kerr with Stephen Curry going 68-14. So it looks like Curry is doing the best this season. Again, it also depends on position and how you match up against other players. Curry, great at shooting threes, but he had an amazing season, 56.3 points per game. Him, Lillard, Kawhi, Giannis, they're all gonna, I guess the All-NBA teams don't matter too much because you're going to get 15 players on here. But let's just hop right into the stats and see who all made playoffs. So let's go over to standings first. Check out the conference standings. In the East, it's going to be Bradley Beal at the top. Then we got Kyrie Irving. We got Kemba Walker, Joel Embiid, Giannis, Kawhi Leonard. We got Zach LaVine and Victor Oladipo, all of them making the playoffs. We had D'Angelo Russell barely not making it in. Surprised Blake didn't make it in. And the rest of these guys, not really surprised that they didn't get in there. Over in the West, though, we got the Golden State Warriors, Stephen Curry at the top. Then we got Damian Lillard, Paul George, James Harden, DeMar DeRozan. We got Donovan Mitchell, LeBron James, and Lou Williams. Mike Conley right at the edge there. Same amount of wins as Lou Williams, but just not quite able to get in it. Jokic didn't make it in. Karl-Anthony Towns. Anthony Davis didn't either. So some good players there not making it in. But let's go over to our season stats. Check out our league leaders. So Curry wasn't even the top scorer. It's going to go over to Damian Lillard, who averaged 58.4 points per game. Then we had Curry, Kyrie, DeRozan, and Zach LaVine, as well as Bradley Beal, all averaging over 50 points. Devin Booker was super close to getting there. And then we have James Harden up there. I'm surprised Harden is a little higher. I thought he would have been one of the top players. We'll just go through everybody here. I want to see who actually did the worst at scoring out of all our starters. Joel Embiid didn't do too good, but he did still make playoffs, which is kind of interesting right there. Going down to the bottom, it looks like it is Josh Richardson as our lowest scorer with only 30.1 points per game, which is just a top average or a top player in the normal NBA. But I want to check out some of these records because we know there has been some records breaking with the stats we've seen already. Okay, so here we are on NBA records. So going over to season stats, it looks like everybody during this season actually gets on there. Lillard with, of course, the highest. This is going to be like season points per game almost. I wonder if there's a points per game. Okay, we're going to go over to points per game here. So Wilt Chamberlain is 6th now. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players do better than Wilt Chamberlain this season, which is absolutely ridiculous as all players from this. But the most interesting thing is in a game, nobody beating Wilt's 100-point game though. Curry dropped 92 as well as 84. Same with Lillard getting 84 and DeRozan with 83. So 4 players beating Kobe's record, but still nobody able to beat Wilt's record when there's only one person scoring. So that is very interesting right there. But those are our points. And let's just hop right into playoffs now. See who can make it through the playoffs and win the NBA Finals just scoring alone. The thing with this, though, is it still kind of is dependent on how good defenses are. Because if there's a players covering these guys that aren't too good at defense, then they're not going to do as good, as well as teams with not as good defense won't do as good either. That was confusing what I just said there. But finding out who all moved on, it's going to be Victor Oladipo with the upset over Bradley Beal. Joel Embiid beating Giannis. I thought Giannis would have moved on for sure. We got Kawhi Leonard beating Kemba Walker. Kyrie beating Zach LaVine. Over in the West, we got Curry beating Lou Williams. Harden beating DeRozan. We got Paul George beating Donovan Mitchell. And LeBron beating Damian Lillard. So these are our conference semi-finalists. And let's see who's going to move on. Looks like Kyrie is going to beat Kawhi Leonard. And then we got a lot of big leads here. Lakers. Okay, so LeBron gets eliminated by Paul George. And it looks like Curry is going to move on as well. It goes to game number 7. And Victor Oladipo beating Joel Embiid with a big upset there. So in the West, it's going to be Curry versus Paul George. And in the East, it's going to be Kyrie versus Victor Oladipo. Let's see who makes it to the NBA Finals. Kyrie getting a 3-0 lead. Kyrie might win this pretty soon, and he does. He beats Victor Oladipo. Over in the West, Paul George with the lead, and Paul George defeats Stephen Curry. So it's going to be Paul George versus Kyrie Irving in the NBA Finals as our two kind of scorers. Let's see who ends up winning this. Game 1 is going to go to Paul George. Game 2 goes to Kyrie. Game 3 to Kyrie. Kyrie up 2-1. Kyrie up 3-1 now. So Kyrie up by 20 points in the fourth quarter. So he's going to actually take the W here. He has 65 points in this game. I want to hop in and see what it actually looks like with just one scorer. But 65 points for Kyrie. He went completely off. And he's going to get a dub, more than the whole Thunder team. Because Paul George did not get all 66. So here we go, hopping into the game. Kyrie actually isn't in the game anymore. Paul George is still in here. So maybe we get to see Paul George. Unfortunately, missed some gameplay at the beginning. And we're not going to see anything here by the Celtics. See, the Celtics don't have any shooting tendencies. So they're just going to pass around. The whole shot clock is actually pretty funny. See, this is the only chance they get a shoot is when the shot clock's winding down. But let's actually see if Paul George can do anything here. See if we can maybe see him score. But you guys kind of get the gist of actually watching it. They're going to just pass around until they can get their main scorer open. And he's going to be the one to shoot. So Paul George can put up the mid-range shot. It is no good. Steven Adams inside. Okay, Steven Adams went up for the layup despite having a 0 layup tendency. So that's kind of interesting. But we do get to see a little bit of gameplay here. Kyrie Irving going to actually win this, though. Let's just sim to the end of the game. Kyrie gets a pretty easy victory over Paul George. I thought Paul George would have done a little better at scoring, but I mean, Kyrie's got the dribble moves. He can shoot. He's just a great player. He averaged 58.2 points per game in the finals there. Shot 45% from 3, 7.6 of rebounds. But Kyrie Irving, if every team only had one scorer, it looks like Kyrie Irving in the Celtics are going to get the W on NBA 2K19. Let me know if you guys did enjoy this type of video, though, guys. Smash that like button. And, of course, subscribe to the channel if you're new. This has been your boy, Smequle, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
Never in the same space that we started at. Throw the ball, I run the play like a quarterback. I've been up all night trying to make a stack, trying to get a plaque and flip a dream into a solid fact. Hustled hard for it. One day they will notice. Chasing in the day.